Hello and welcome to my channel. I am going to be going through my July TBR. I actually just can't believe that we're almost in July already. It's kind of crazy to me how quickly this year is going, and also my birthday is in July and that means I'm getting old. So yes, I thought I would go through the stack of books I have here and tell you what I will be reading this month. So these are in no particular order and they are my physical books. I do have a couple of Kindle books that I will be mentioning at the end because I do have some arcs that I need to get read in July. So I think we're going to start at the bottom just because it's a hardback, which is a little bit awkward. So the first one is Yesteryear by Caro Burke. Now I feel like this is one that has been absolutely everywhere at the moment. Everyone seems to be loving this and I wanted to get in on it, and I've been really wanting to read it, but I've been quite strict myself not picking it up because I still have books on my June TBR that I haven't got round to yet. We aren't quite at the end of the month yet, so I've still got some time, but I didn't want to derail my TBR. So I will be reading this in July. Now this is about a woman who has a social media account where she promotes traditional values. She's a very trad wife, off the grid type of content from what you can get. You know, she has a farmhouse, she bakes bread, all of those kind of things. And one day she then wakes up and she has travelled back in time and is during the time where that was an expectation of women, that you know they would stay at home, they would do these things, and I'm not sure that she's particularly happy about it. So yes, I've heard so many good things about it and I'm really intrigued to give it a go. So I'm looking forward to picking this up and giving it a read. Then the next book is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I was given this one. Now I'm pretty sure this is the first one. I'm sure I've checked this quite a few times. So I'm pretty sure this is the first book in the series. And I've got this one and then I've also got the second one. And I've not read Lucy Score before, so this will be my first Lucy Score book to read. And I was given to them, so my friend gave me a bag of books and the two of them were in there, and I had it for quite a while, so I thought that it would be good to pick this up. I won't lie, I'm actually not sure what this is about, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read the blurb to you. So it says, bearded bad boy Barber Knox prefers to live his life the way he takes his coffee, alone. Unless you count his basset hound, Waylon, Knox doesn't tolerate drama even when it comes in the form of a stranded hideaway bride. Naomi wasn't just running away from her wedding, she was riding to the rescue of her estranged twin to Knockham Mount, Virginia, a rough around the edges town where disputes are settled the old-fashioned way, with fists and beer, usually in that order. Too bad for Naomi, her evil twin hasn't changed at all. After helping herself to Naomi's car and cash, Tina leaves her with something unexpected. The niece Naomi didn't know she had. Now she's stuck in town with no car, no job, no plan and no home, with an 11-year-old going on 30 to take care of. There's a reason Knox doesn't do complications or high maintenance women, especially not the romantic ones. But since Naomi's life imploded right in front of him, the least he can do is help her out of her jam, and just as soon as she stops getting into new trouble, he can leave her alone and get back to his peaceful, solitary life. At least that's a plan until the trouble turns into real danger. So actually it sounds really interesting. As I said, I didn't really have a clue. I will say I thought that it was like, you know, mostly a romance, and it is quite long for what I would call a typical romance, so I'm not sure about that, but I will definitely be giving it a go, because as I said, I've got this one and I've got the second one, and I also have another Lucy score which I think is part of a different series, and I still haven't read anything by her, and I feel like I've heard a lot of people say really positive things about Lucy School, so I think it's about time that I give it a go. Then I have Electric Idol by Katee Robert. Now, this is the second book in the Dark Olympus. This is the second book in the Dark Olympus series, and I have read the first one, which is Neon Gods, and I really enjoyed that. Now, this one is Psyche and Aphrodite, and also Eros. So these books are based on Greek gods. So the premise is there is the city of Olympus, and there are people who, the Greek gods, so the things like Hades and Aphrodite, things like that, they're titles rather than actual people, from what I remember. And so it's like the title of Zeus rather than Zeus being a specific person, and they all live in Olympus, and it's more of a modern retelling, and I just really enjoy those kind of books. I've read quite a few different sort of retellings, and I picked up, well, I think I got it for Christmas, not even this Christmas just gone, the Christmas before. I think like the whole series of whatever had come out up until that point, so I thought I probably should actually read some of these. So I've read the first one, I really loved the first one, I listened to it in audio, and then I've also have a physical copy of it now. But because I've just realised I'm not actually 100% on the specifics of this one, I will also read the back. So, in the ultra-modern city of Olympus, there's always a price to pay. Psyche Demetriou knew she'd have to fight Aphrodite eventually, but she never expected her literal heart to be at stake, for Aphrodite's gorgeous son to be the one ordered to strike the killing blow. Eros has no problem shedding blood, raised to be his mother's knife in the dark. He's been conditioned to accept that he's more monster than man. But when it comes to take out his latest target, he can't do it. Confused by his reaction to Psyche's unexpected kindness, he does the only thing he can think of to keep her safe. He binds her to him, body and soul. Psyche didn't expect to find herself married to the city's most dangerous killer, but something about Eros awakens a fire she'd never felt before. As lines blur and loyalties shift, Psyche realises Eros might take her heart after all, and she's not sure she can survive the loss. So yes, it's a modern retelling of Psyche and Eros. I will say that when it comes to Greek mythology, I am the most familiar with Hades and Persephone. I know a bit about Zeus, so this isn't one that I'm super familiar with, but I am still intrigued to get into it. Now, I will say Katee Roberts' books are very, very spicy. They are quite intense in that. I'm not sure if this has got trigger warnings in it, but I would definitely have a look into that if this is something that you would think that you would want to read. But yes, also the covers are absolutely gorgeous. I love these ones. There's a few different editions, but this one, it's got the butterflies and things on it, stunning. So I can't wait to get into this and continue this series. I then have, talking about series, I have the Fortis Score by Janet Evanovich. This is the fourth book in the Stephanie Plum series. Now, if you have watched one of my videos before, I think it might have been my May TBR, this was on there. But what I didn't realise was I hadn't read the third one, so the third book in this series I didn't have physically. I had it on my Kindle, so when I was picking the next book, I just got myself confused and picked up Fortis Score as the next one, but I needed to read the third one first. So I have now read that on my Kindle. So finally I will be reading Fortis Score, and I have mentioned these previously. These are technically a reread for me. I used to get these out of my local library when I was a teenager. My sister and I used to read these quite a lot, and I saw a lot of these in a local charity shop, and so I picked them all up, and I've been really wanting to reread them, so I'm slowly going through and rereading them, and once I've read them, then I just donate them, give them back to charity. So they are just a little bit of fun. So they are about Stephanie Plum, who is a bounty hunter, but she's not very good at being a bounty hunter. So her cousin owns this bond agency, and after she gets a divorce and loses her job, she ends up working for her cousin, and she is a little bit clumsy, a little bit awkward, doesn't really know what she's doing, so she's always getting into all kinds of trouble whilst trying to look for and hunt the people that she is assigned. So yeah, they are just a little bit of fun, and I think they were released, I think they came out in like the 90s, so they are really funny. So does it say, yeah, this edition was published in 99, so they are a little bit older, so there are some things in this that I would say don't necessarily stand up now, but overall they are just a little bit of fun. I then have Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan, and this is one that I picked up semi-recently in Waterstones, and I will say that there's a few reasons that I picked this up. The first one was on the back, it says, "A tale for anyone who's ever fallen for the villain." The cover is absolutely stunning, and the main character is called Ray. And I was like, it's a sign, I need to get it. So, and also she's a reader, and I just thought, because it's my birthday month, I wanted to pick something up that felt a little bit like it was destined for me. So this one is about a woman called Ray, and her whole life collapses, but she has her books. She seizes a second chance at living, and she then ends up in a magical bargain, and she enters the world of her favorite fantasy series. And honestly, this just sounds amazing, and so I have a week off for my birthday. I'm hoping, if things align properly, this will be the book that I will read during that week off, because it just looks so much fun, and everything about it sounds amazing. And then it just look like it is a series, so another book in it. And yeah, it's time for your villain era is what it says on the front, and I'm down for it. So yes, this is another one that I have been really wanting to pick up since I bought it, but I've held off a little bit. So I'm looking forward to getting into it, and I hope that I love it. And yeah, as I said, this has got a quote on it. I'm sure you've seen it, from Katee Robert, Leigh Bardugo, J. Kristoff. It does have Holly Black, which is maybe a controversial opinion, but I didn't really like the Cruel Prince. But yeah, so I'm intrigued by this. Then finally, for physical books, there should be no surprise if you've ever watched any of my videos before, but it is an Ellie Dean. It needs to be done. So this is Sweet Memories of You. This is the 10th book in the Ellie Dean series. So again, if you've watched any of my videos before, you will know what these are about, but if not, these are set during World War II, and they are centered around a boarding house called Beachview, and it is a town called Cliffhaven. There is a woman called Peggy Riley who owns this boarding house, and along with her family, she ends up renting out the rooms, and she also allows people to, like evacuees, to move into some of the rooms because nobody is going on holiday anymore, so they're not being rented out for that reason. She's got a few people that have been there throughout, and then each book typically follows a character that's coming to Beachview or lives in Beachview, and they end up having to stay at Peggy's boarding house for one reason or another. And there's a large cast of characters, so you kind of get to know more about each of the different people in the house and the surrounding family. But each book seems mostly to follow one person who is the main character, who is there for a reason. So this one is the next one. I have one of these on my TBR every month because I've got quite a few of them. I've got the whole series, and I think there's 20 books. There's still another 10 to go. I haven't read the 9th book yet because we're not quite at the end of the month. I haven't got around to it just yet, so I'm not going to read the back of this because I don't want there to be any spoilers for the previous one. But I'm looking forward to getting into it, and as I imagine it will be very similar to all the others that I have read before it. So then, just really quickly, so I have 2 arcs that I need to read this month, well, in the month of July, because they are being released, and I thought that I would let you know what those 2 are, because other than that, I don't really tend to plan my Kindle TBR, but I thought it'd be good to tell you about the ones that I absolutely need to read in July. So the first one is Wench by Erynne Rivers, and this is expected to be released on the 16th of July, so I need to get this read in the first half of the month, and will probably be one of the first things that I pick up on my Kindle. So this is a book about, so it says, Maid Marian's life is over. Her cowardly father has betrothed her to the most reviled man, the Sheriff of Nottingham. Devastated, she's sent on the quickest path to meet her husband through the fate-infested Sherwood Forest. But everything changes when her carriage is attacked by the most feared Fae, the Merry Men, followers of the infamous Robin Hood. Kidnapped and waiting on the sheriff's rescue, Marian finds herself surrounded by the very magical creatures she's been raised to fear. But the more time she spends in their presence, Marian realises that not everything she's been taught by her family is true, and Marian can't help but find herself drawn to her captor, the sinfully handsome Robin, who stands between her and returning to life amongst the humans. As the sheriff's men close in on Marian's location, she will soon be faced with the ultimate, the family she's always known, or the love she chooses for herself. And so this is obviously based on Robin Hood, and it just sounded really interesting, and I've got an e-arc of this from NetGalley, so I am looking forward to getting into it and seeing how I get on with it. The second book that I have, the second arc, is actually a really anticipated read for me, but I was accepted for it quite late in the day. I didn't actually think that I would get accepted, so I've had a few other books that I needed to read beforehand, so I will be trying to get to this as soon as possible, and that is Daybreak by Autumn Woods. So again, this is an e-arc that I was accepted for on NetGalley, which was actually a real surprise to me. I didn't think that I would get it, but I was very lucky to have received it, and I absolutely loved the first book in this series, Nightshade. I also met Autumn Woods at a Christmas book signing event in December, and so I have a signed copy of Nightshade, so I will be getting a physical copy of this once it is released. So this is due to be released on the 28th of July, so I do have a little bit more time to get this read, but I think that I will be reading this one very soon as well. So this is the second book in the Sorosong University series, and so the first book is about a woman called Ophelia, and both of her parents tragically die in a helicopter accident, and they worked at Sorosong University, but they weren't rich, they just worked there. and this university is very prestigious. It's for rich people, and she ends up getting a letter inviting her to join this university, even though she hasn't been doing well with schooling and she is a little bit suspicious. But she decides to go and enroll in the school because she thinks this will help her find out exactly what happened to her parents. And there is a guy who she meets, Alex, who is a student there, and she believes his dad was involved in the accident that killed, or supposed accident that killed her parents, because I believe it was like his helicopter or his company, something along those lines. But then also there is some kind of murder and mystery separate to that is also happening, and somebody seems to be out to get her. And there she then ends up being thrown together with Alex, and they start to get on very well, and she has to battle with the fact that she is developing feelings for somebody whose dad potentially was involved in the murder or accident and killing of her parents, and she now want to expose him. And the book ended on not like a cliffhanger, but it was like something really intense happened at the end of the first book, so I have been waiting desperately to find out what happens next. So yes, the next book will follow on from that, and hopefully we will get some more answers into what happened with her parents and how all of that will unravel. So I will just quickly show this because this is quite a good stack of books. So we've got 6 physical books here for me to get to, and I'm quite confident that I'll be able to get through all of these in July because, as I said, I do have some time off from work. I have quite a few days here and there, but we do also have some plans. So we have a concert that we're going to in London. It is my birthday. I do have a week off, but we might be doing things throughout that week as well. And yeah, I think I'm just really looking forward to it. And there's a few books on here that are books I've been anticipating and really desperate to get to, and then a lot of series and things that I need to continue. So please do like this video if you have liked it, subscribe if you would like, and comment down below. Let me know, have you read any of these, and if you have, what your thoughts are on them. Also, tell me what you're planning to read in July. Have you got anything that you've been desperate to pick up and read? Yes, thank you for watching.